Chains rattle broken, now we rise. Flag in my hand starts burning the skies. Truth ain't dead, though the liars try. They scream loud, but the words all die. Guys watching hands, praise to the throne. Freedom ain't free, blood built this home. Continue freedom, keep it alive. Red, white, blue, we bleed to survive. Continue freedom, keep it alive. Land of the free, ain't bending the knee. Truth in my veins, it's all I see. Patriots roar, no fear in the fight. Continue freedom, stand in the light.
Whoa, here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I hope y'all are having a wonderful evening tonight. Happy Monday to everybody. We've got a lot to talk about today. If you're new and you're just coming on, be sure that you tap all the important buttons below. If my graphic wants to work, there it goes. Hit the subscribe button, that like button, and the notification bell. That way you don't miss anything in the future. Get down in the chat. Enjoy yourselves. Let's have a great show. All right, so Donald Trump, this is the big one here. Governor Tim Walz. He says that Governor Tim Walz called me with the request to work together with respect to Minnesota. It was a very good call, and we actually seem to be on a similar wavelength. I told Governor Walz that I would have Tom Homan call him, so Trump's sending in the big dog, and that what we are looking for are any and all criminals that they have in their possession. The governor very respectfully understood that, and I will be speaking to him in the near future. He was happy that Tom Homan was going to Minnesota, and so am I. We have had such tremendous success in Washington, D.C., Memphis, Tennessee, and New Orleans. Memphis, Tennessee, okay, and New Orleans, Louisiana, and virtually every other place that we have touched. And even in Minnesota, crime is way down, but Governor Walz and I want to make it better. President Donald J. Trump. So it's interesting that Tim Walz, after all the rhetoric we've been playing about Tim Walz, that he reached out. He's saying, okay, I'm in over my head. This is how I'm reading it, that I'm in over my head and I can't take it anymore. So as I said, Tom Homan, this is, again, according to Donald Trump, Tom Homan is going to be going to Minnesota. And this guy, this is obviously Commander Bovino here. If you don't know what Tom Homan looks like, this is Tom Homan. Everybody knows this dude. He's an absolute bulldog. So I say let the big dog eat, and hopefully that's what Trump is. That's the guidance that Trump has given him. But he is the border czar, and so this Commander Bovino came out and said this today, and we'll see what happens. But the other piece of this call is, and this is reported by the New York Post, that Trump considers drawing down ICE in Minnesota. This is what Governor Walz says, and this is after a productive phone call. So the fact that they are even considering drawing down ICE, honestly, I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't think that that's in the best interest of Minneapolis. I think it's in the best interest of Minnesota and in Minneapolis for the governor to be a dadgum governor and get control of his state, and maybe for his party to do the same thing. But the end result of this is, I guess, Trump is considering it. It's not saying he's going to do it, but saying that he's considering it. And my fear is the left, the really loony side of the left, is going to say, "Oh, we're having an impact. What we're doing is actually helping." And so this is again from the New York Post. It says talked about the call. Border czar Tom Homan is headed to the state to deal with the escalating standoff between protesters and ICE agents. Let's see. He was happy that Tom was going to Minnesota. Let's see. Okay, so anyway, part of this call is that we're going to draw it down. I don't think that's the best play. And you know why? Because a recent poll, this was on CNN of all places. You know they're not playing anything friendly to Donald Trump. But CNN said that the majority of Americans want not just illegal immigrants, but more than that, deported. This is, and again, it's a poll. So you guys, we know this, but this is when we're communicating this to people, we have to remind them, polls are, they're unreliable at best. However, it is something that you take into consider. It is a metric, right? It's a metric.
Sometimes I like blunt questions because they sort of get at the underlying feelings that people have. So this is about as blunt a question as you can get. Deport all immigrants here illegally. I will note the ABC News poll asked about undocumented immigrants. So we have slightly different questions, but these were all taken within the last month. And there's real uniformity here. That's what I really think you see. You see real uniformity. Deporting all immigrants who are here illegally, 55% of the New York Times. Marquette, 64%. CBS News, 57%. ABC News with a slightly different question, 56%. So what you're seeing essentially here is a very clear indication that a majority of Americans, in fact, when they're asked this blunt question, which I believe gets at the underlying feelings, do in fact want to deport all immigrants who are here illegally. There's no arguing with these different numbers because they're all essentially the same across 4 different pollsters. Feelings towards immigration in this country, feelings towards undocumented immigrants and deporting all of them have become considerably more hawkish, and I think that gives Donald Trump much more leverage to go with the American people and sort of have these hawkish, some might say harsh, different rhetoric and also issue-based sort of going after immigrants who are here illegally, want immigration levels decreased. This includes legal and illegal immigration. Look at this. Last year, 55%. That is the highest level since the 9/11 aftermath. You go back just to 2020.
And this, again, legal and illegal. So people want less people coming into the country.
Exactly. They want less people coming into the country. Look at that. That's a 14-point rise from 2023. You go back to 2016 when Donald Trump again was running for president the first time, it's 38%. That's a 17-point rise. So the bottom line is more folks want people who are here illegally deported, and their overall feelings towards immigration have become considerably more hawkish.
63% say they're okay with deporting immigrants who are here illegally and arrived in the last 4 years. 87% are good with deporting immigrants who are here illegally and have criminal records.
So it's a popular thing. That's why I don't understand why Trump will be saying that drawing down ICE is even on the table. They're there to do a job, and it's a job that the Democrats always say, well, majority. We're a constitutional representative republic. They like to use majority when it comes to the Electoral College, something that they absolutely loathe. And, they say majority when it comes to the popular vote. But when you look at this polling here, it's saying that the majority of Americans are okay with getting rid of folks. Now, that doesn't mean they're okay with the escalated violence. It doesn't mean they're okay with the riots in the streets and businesses that are eventually, I hate to be a pessimist, but the left has a track record of this. The left has a track record of destroying cities when they don't get their way. So I find it interesting. I don't understand his political angle, to be honest. And I don't think it's going to help with the riots because they will see this as a win. See, we got Trump to capitulate on something. We're doing the right thing. Everybody keep going. And this is the left is starting to change the language, and when they start, dissecting not dissecting, but when they start really tweaking the language, I think that's when we know that something bigger may be at foot. They've done this with things like it's a means to change the culture and to change the argument. They will say things like minor attracted persons when we know what that actually means. That means PDFs. When they say that it's a pro-life versus pro-choice. Well, no, it's a pro-life versus pro-death argument. They change the language, they soften the language, they tweak the language. In this instance, they're hearkening back to something that we've heard ever since October 7th, which is...
We know that this administration has been using immigration enforcement to essentially conduct an ethnic cleansing in the United States of America. I've been in those detention centers all across my state. I went into Alligator Alcatraz. There's no Europeans there outstaying their visas. It's black and brown people. It's Haitian people. It's Latinos. It's people like my mother who came here from Cuba in the late 1960s, and it's disgusting.
And it's not just here. So this is a government representative. This was I forget his name, Maxwell, I think. Representative Maxwell Frost. That's what it is, Maxwell Frost. But it's coming from other places too. So the lefties have gotten the message. And this was posted by Libby Emmons. And if you don't follow the Post Millennial, I highly recommend it. Libby Emmons, she's I think the senior editor over there. They do a great job. It's a really good publication. But this was, let me pull up so that's the article. Let me pull up the clip of the woman. Here we go. I know. You're keeping, what's the takeaway? She said, I'm keeping the chat warm for you, Jared, but I could use some help. Absolutely. All you folks that are on, hop into the chat. Takeaway is over there just taking it away. I appreciate it. And in fact, I'm going to get to some of your comments take away. Let me play this clip and then we'll get to it. So this, as I said, it went from representatives over to the activists, the activists that work for them, who are, you know, they're the ones that are the gnat at the barbecue for a lot of these people.
Rise and Resist has struggled with terminology. With
Here we go.
As a group, Rise and Resist has struggled with terminology, with embracing terminology. We had to struggle with using the term abolish ICE. Look where that is now. We had to struggle with using the term fascism and fascist. Look where that is now. We struggled with using the term Gestapo. Look where that is now. The most mainstream pundits are using these terms. And now we're going to lead with, this is ethnic cleansing. Call it what it is.
So we know that this directive, like I say, comes from the Democrat Party. These people, they are guided, their utterances are guided and directed. Everything that they get comes from a higher authority so that they keep consistent messaging. This is where they're you got to admit they are good at it, because we're going to get to this in a minute. A lot of these people, they're mindless lemmings. They really are. And I think that maybe it's the food they eat. Maybe I don't know what it is, but they have a true mind virus. And it's made its way down to the activist class of people who are saying this is ethnic cleansing. Ethnic cleansing. Well, it ain't their homeland. Let's just be perfectly honest about that. If we were doing this in Somalia, if we were doing this in El Salvador, if we were doing this in another country, then okay, fine, make the argument and we can have a discussion. But this is America. They are not American. This is not ethnic cleansing. So, I think all of this started, let me get to some of these comments here, because Takeaway has been absolutely going nuts in the chat. Let's see. Wife and I disagree about Alex Preddy. Keep trying to tell her that you can't just body block law enforcement and expect nothing to, there you go. There you go. Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about that towards the end, the Alex Preddy part, because things are, obviously tensions are still high, but we'll get to a little bit of that one. An atrocity is allowing millions of illegals into the country and then losing them. Yes, it is. It was intentional, obviously. Liberal, she's mostly conservative, but she has bad interaction with the cops in her past. Oh, okay, so this is talking about the cop interaction. Yeah. So in my opinion, and I'll get to more comments here in a bit. In my opinion, a lot of this it started in 2020, and this was a contractor, a subcontractor for the Postal Department. And this is recent. This was in Arlington, Virginia. It was posted, I believe it was yesterday. Let me see. It was posted 2 days ago. But listen to what this guy said. More stuff is coming out about the election, about the 2020 election. And I have to be careful because I have had 2 strikes on my channel. That's why I spent a year and a half in YouTube jail, because I said something about the election and I said something about a different thing. Let's just say years ago, hearkening back to the day when people were locked in their houses, there was a certain mandate for people to do a certain thing or take a certain thing, and I didn't like that, and then YouTube gave me hard strikes for it. So let's keep going and listen to this.
During the run-up to and on Election Day, I was working as a temporary hire at United Mailing Services, UMS, a USPS subcontractor in Wisconsin. I began employment on August 26, 2020 as a route driver and box truck driver. This meant my job was to pick up mail on a predetermined route and deliver it to UMS for sorting and metering. I would then take the sorted mail in my box truck to USPS. In September or October, I began to deliver mail-in ballots from UMS to USPS as part of my evening delivery duties. I knew this because there was special bins marked for ballots only. On one occasion, I forgot to retrieve the ballots for transportation and I had to go back for them.
Was that one in 2018? This one was reposted here recently. I thought that one was from recently. All right, I don't have to play it, but you get the idea that this was going on back then. This was happening in the first election. This was happening in 2020, and a lot of things have come about in Georgia in particular as it pertains to the 2020 election. And Yeah, it could be a lot better though. Yeah, you're right. So, we heard down in Georgia, the 100, I believe it was 100,000, was it 200,000 votes, whatever it was. So these massive, the rigging of the 2016 election, the point I'm trying to make is that it was setting the stage for what we are having to deal with now, allowing the border to be open, a massive influx of people that causes a crisis that the government has to step in and solve. And in the event they lose the election, which part of me thinks that because of the vote numbers, that was their intent, or that they knew they weren't going to win the election, that they could create a crisis that Donald Trump would have to fix that could make him look, in their eyes or in their followers' eyes, like a fascist, like he was overly authoritarian. And a lot of this is, fixed, and we're not having these problems in other places because I played this clip before. Sheriffs like this guy. This guy's down in Florida. And here you go, check this out. If we had more of these, we would be much better off as a country.
If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and then jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead.
So
if you resist lawful
that's what you get in Florida. That's what you get in a place like Florida. That's what you get in a place like Texas or in Tennessee. These sheriffs, they do not mess around. Law enforcement is there to actually support the people. In Minneapolis, obviously you don't get that. You get people that are emboldened by their leadership. Well, you guys have seen the videos if you've been watching my channel. We've shown the videos of Tim Walz, and we'll show a couple more tonight, but videos of Tim Walz and Mayor Free, I believe. I've been calling him Fry, but I think it's Free. Mayor Free coming out and emboldening these people. But it's some people on the right are kind of poking fun at it. This is a post from Matt Walsh, and I'll play the video here in a minute. But he says, this is the gayest insurrection of all time. All of the corniest dorks in the country are rising up. And this other person, whoever, I don't know, Cassandra McDonald, subscribe to her now or follow her now. But this is the type of video they're posting. It's like they feel this, like they're heroes of some sort. They're heroes in their own, it's like they're LARPing.
When's the time?
All hands hoist the colors
After today. The song has been sung.
Thieves and beggars,
It's time.
shall we die.
They're LARPing. Like this guy, he's going to post the video. He posts the video, and then he goes back in his house and he sips on his latte, and I don't know, lives off his girlfriend's paycheck or whatever it is he's doing. But they're pretending to be something. They're pretending to be these warriors. And so it's kind of funny for some of these TikTokers. However, it's kind of downplaying the seriousness because there is a very unified and a very well-organized element inside of Minneapolis. This is what we've talked about in the past couple of live streams with Riot Inc. is what a lot of people call it. Some people call it that. This was Cam Higbee, I believe. I believe this was Cam Higbee. And he got into the Signal chat and into the Signal dispatch for these people.
This is clearly
Check
a coordinated infrastructure, and we'd like for the feds to take a crack at trying to get rid of this infrastructure the way that they approach the mob or other or cartels or other terrorist networks, right?
Absolutely, 100%. And again, they're still doing it.
They're still doing it.
Wait, you want to see something real cool?
Please, real fast.
All right, real fast. This is dispatch.
Sorry, I just switched. M3 was driving. I just dropped him off, and I am in the North Loop commuting back to Hawthorne shortly.
Okay, thank you. Last person I want to check in with is Maria R. Can you tell me where you're at and what's going on?
Wow.
That's live dispatch call.
So that's them live coordinating where ICE is?
Right now. Yeah, that's them right now looking for ICE.
Unbelievable.
So it's a coordinated effort. It's a beep boop. Audrey is we have a bot in the chat. It's interesting. I'm just going to let it roll. We'll see what happens. Maybe Audrey will learn something tonight. So it's a good thing that you're on, Audrey. We welcome you here, even if you are a bot. Not 100% certain you are. You talk like one. It sounds like you're coming off the Audrey. Let's see, where is it? It's there. Sorry, I hate to give you a hard time, but I kind of have to. You're posting an awful lot. I think you're number 2 in the chat. You might be. No, you're in there though. But what we are with, like it's like it comes off the printing press of the DNC. What we are witnessing right now is millions of conservatives refusing to condemn an atrocious act because their lives and identity are based around worshiping Donald Trump and everything he does. Does that not sound like something that came right off the DNC's printing press? Here's your talking points, Nancy Pelosi. Hand it down to everybody else. You're more than welcome to have those opinions, Audrey, by the way. But give us something other than the normal headline. How about engage? Let's engage in some actual conversation. It'd be super helpful for lottie-dottie everybody. Anyway, so as I said, that Matt Walsh, he was kind of downplaying this by saying this was the gayest insurrection of all time. They are well organized. They are well funded. They are getting hundreds of millions of dollars for Riot Inc., for Immigration Inc., for Election Inc., all of these subsects of the deep state that are impacting our lives. And the people that they're coordinating with are violent individuals. Here was a report that came out today, and this was federal agents in St. Paul pursued a man who fled in a vehicle and struck multiple officers. One agent fired shots in defensive response before the suspect was taken into custody. Here's another one where ICE is getting hit with bricks by these protesters. They're guarding I think this is the one where they were guarding the hotel where people thought ICE was staying.
Get back! Get back! Get back!
That sounded like a metal can, but apparently this was, I guess, after they had taken some bricks. I don't know. They're throwing all sorts of stuff at them. They're obviously bashing windows, destroying property, going after ICE agents. They're essentially willing to, or acting like they're willing to die for the cause. They want some sort of martyrdom. This is why I think it's more of a religion.
Shoot me in the fucking head!
Sorry for the language.
Fucking shoot me in the fucking head! You cowards! You're fucking cowards! I'm right here! Fucking kill me! Fucking...
It's like they want to be martyred for their cause. They want to die for this cause. It's really, really strange. The behavioral health problem in the Democrat Party is very real. Very real. And so you've got the violent ones, but you've also got just the looky-loos. There's tons of people out here. This is, I think this one might have language as well, so earmuff on it if you got kids around. But listen to this.
Because our country being run by fucking criminals and nobody's doing anything. And people like you are defending actions of fucking terrorists.
And people like you are defending these pedophiles being in Minnesota by wanting to abolish ICE and get them out of
I'm
there.
not defending those fucking pedophiles. If you're trying to argue that we need to get rid of these people, that these are fucking pedophiles, then get the fucking pedophiles in the White House out now.
Those are pedophiles.
Okay.
And so when you want ICE out of Minnesota or Minneapolis, this is who you're protecting.
No, I am not trying to protect those people. I'm protecting the actual people who had not had any previous criminal charges against them being deported. Sure, maybe those people have been convicted. Maybe they should get out. But
how do they get out, though?
I mean, get out.
But how does that happen without ICE?
Find some other organization not hiring criminals.
There isn't. There is no lawful organization that can remove somebody that's here illegally and committed crimes. They can't do it.
You know what that's called? That's called the fucking police.
The local police does not. They don't deport people. ICE does.
Okay, well, here's the thing, though. Say that, they want to get these criminal, or they want to, convict the criminal, get them out, all right? You want to know an easy way to know if someone's been an easy way to get criminals, go to the fucking jail cells, get the people that have already been convicted, get them out, not random people on the fucking streets.
Okay, so again, we're just going to talk calmly here. These people are pedophiles and they are criminals. Give me 1 second before your impulse tells you to interrupt me, okay? 1 second. If you don't want ICE going around, if you don't want them to exist, if you want them abolished, these people would still be in our streets. These people would still be going out and raping children. There is no one that could deport them. They don't have the agency to do that. And I think it's dangerous to start telling local law enforcement that they can go and start deporting people. ICE has the power under Title 8 to do this. So tell me, how do we remove these people if we abolish ICE?
Simple. Just lock them up for crimes that they've committed. I
think the point here, and it's easy. I'm sure you can go to these places and find the ones that look like they don't really know why they're there. They're just there to, I don't know, meet people, or they read the headlines and they've never read an entire article in their entire lives. I think there's probably a lot of those folks. So Caitlin, I believe is her name, Caitlin Bennett, if I'm not mistaken. But Caitlin Bennett can go out here and find those folks. I don't think that it's a small number like we would typically see. I think there's a large number of people who are living in a headline culture. They're living in the quick click, shorts, reels. They're getting those dopamine hits off of TikTok and whatever else, and they buy into it. They see it on a loop. The algorithm continues to feed it, and so they've got knowledge but not wisdom to understand how to process the information. And there's a difference. You know, there's a funny thing that I heard. I forget who it was. He said, you know, there's a big difference between knowledge and wisdom. And the interviewer asked him, well, what is it? And he said, well, knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. I thought that's a great way. It's a great way to look at it. But it's very much how people process information these days, how people on the left do. They're purely in a headlines culture. And some of these, this one was gnarly today. I'm not 100% certain that I can even show this one. So I'm not going to show it and risk getting banned. But this person, it was a woman, it looked like. I'll show you the scene of it so you can at least see the scene of the incident. And this was, again, in Minneapolis. There was tear gas, there were flashbangs, and all these things going off. A woman reached down to pick up a flashbang and throw it back, and it went off in her hand. We all know how something like that is going to end. But they're kind of useful idiots, I think, for the Democrat Party. You guys let me know what you think, but I think they're just useful idiots. And I've asked myself this so many times. I'm like, how in the world are there so many of them? It's part of it is that it gets, they get amplified online. So there could be fewer stupid people like this, fewer purely indoctrinated people on the left than it may seem. But when you see the crowds, they're pretty massive. They're pretty big crowds. And, in my mind, I'm like, how does a kid or whatever get to that point? And I've talked about some of it. I've talked about I think we all know that the education system is to blame in a very big way. Social media is partially to blame. But when kids get their when kids are growing up and their moral foundations are being established, their moral worldview is being developed by their parents, which is who's supposed to be doing it. I think a lot of these leftist parents, I would consider this to be a bad parent. A parent who is sitting here showing one clip of a very complicated and complex incident to a young kid and then shaping a narrative to help turn him at an early age against any law enforcement individual. And the long-term, this is a bad mom. Sorry, you're a bad mom if you're doing this to a kid that age. That kid doesn't need to be in the world. He doesn't need to see the violence of the world yet, in my opinion. But these leftist moms, where a Christian mom, and I'm going to use Christianity because that's what I'm obviously most familiar with. A Christian mom would not be showing that. She's going to be talking to her kid about the dangers of the world, that there are dangers in the world. And here's how to act when you encounter a police officer, or here's how you're supposed to treat people, just learning the golden rule. Leftist parents don't have anything above the government. So they are shaping a world for this kid. This woman is shaping a world for this kid that is horrific. He's seeing violence at this young age that he probably shouldn't be seeing, and she's narrating it for him. So you want to know how kids are so easily swayed in a lot of instances. And, you know, it's like the moms that take their kids to the drag queen story hour and that sort of thing. It's not just being indoctrinated at schools. They're getting it when they get home too. From parents who are also, like, we're one of the first generations. I remember the days without the internet. I remember dial-up internet when it wasn't good for much at all. And so we were outside all the time. I wasn't playing around on the internet. I was outside. I was hanging out with friends, and politics didn't even come into play, or who their parents voted for didn't even come into play. That's not the world that we live in today. Parents now are just as addicted to this social media crap as they once were. And I feel like it's changed in a relatively short period of time, because the messiah for the left, Barack Obama, this was him. Just to harken back to a different day. Here we go.
You know, I'm the President of the United States. I'm not the Emperor of the United States. My job is to execute laws that are passed. And Congress right now has not changed what I consider to be a broken immigration system. Mm-hmm. And what that means is that we have certain obligations to enforce the laws that are in place, even if we think that
Are you listening, Audrey, down in the chat? Are you listening? Make sure you listen.
In many cases, the results may be tragic. There are going to be some stories that break our hearts. And more importantly, we're going to continue to have an economy that is stifled by a really inefficient system where not only are we deporting folks, but we also have a legal immigration system that is so bottlenecked that it forces sometimes people into the illegal system. You know,
So Barack Obama, the deporter in chief, millions of people that he deported, there were no protests, there was no violence, there was none of the nonsense that we're dealing with today. But Donald Trump does it in a much lower number than Barack Obama, not including the self-deportations, which has been a big chunk of it. There's riots, got to burn cities. It's atrocious, it's fascist, it's all of that. In fact, Steven Crowder, he had a very interesting point. I'm going to play this for you guys because I never even thought about doing this. All of these illegal immigrants, they've got the CBP One app, right? The CBP One app is on their phones. They've got access to it. And listen to what he says. I thought it was brilliant.
Needs to be done, or what should have been done from the outset. I completely support deporting illegal aliens, and not just violent criminals, though they should get priority. There should be a State of the Union address. There should be an address from the White House, Donald Trump. He should have done this in the outset and said, look, we're going to give everyone 1 month, okay, illegal aliens. So the first step, we're going to give you all 1 month to sell your stuff in your house, get your affairs in order. And everyone out there, this is, by the way, still available, but a lot of people don't know it. Everyone out there who's here illegally, you can self-deport if you don't have a criminal record on the CBP One app. Okay, you can go there, you can register, you can self-deport. The civil penalties will be wiped. We'll pay for your flight, $2,600. That is what is available right now, $2,600, and you can attempt to come back through the legal channels as everyone else. Okay? They should have said that on the outset to make sure that everybody knows. The reason I say this is because I have walked through this. You can go to the Change My Minds. I've had conversations with people where they will say, well, I agree, we need to do something. We need to do something, but it just doesn't look good. Okay, so we need to do something about this. You just don't like the way we're going about it. You can walk people down this path. Try this in real life. Go, okay, so let's think what that might look like. Like maybe the first shot could be, hey, you guys, I get that you're scared. Self-deport, here's an app where you can do it. There'll be no civil penalties, and we'll pay for your flight, maybe even give you $1,000 or a couple $1,000. You can come back to the legal way. Every single time I've said that, people have either said, sure, that's reasonable, or even leftists have said, well, we're not even necessarily, you don't have to give them like money, but yeah, just make it easy. Okay, great, we're doing that.
Push notifications on the CBP One app. Hey guys, just a reminder, ICE is out here on the prowl. How about you take advantage of this opportunity that is still available to you where we pay for your plane ticket? I'd completely forgotten that they were doing that, but I didn't even think about doing a push notification. Push a notification to all of them and say, here you go, guys. Alert, alert. This is still available. If ICE gets you, we are going to get your biometric data, and you're not going to be allowed back in the country ever. So take your one opportunity, take your one chance. A pretty smart idea. Pretty smart idea. Let's see. Okay. Here was another one. This is, I'm kind of doing some of this out of order, so I apologize for that. But let's see. Yeah, this was supposed to be up here with the Tim Walz stuff, but I'm going to play it anyways because I think it's valuable. When I was talking earlier about this being a coordinated effort, look at this. This is a post made by Right Angle Network, and it's saying at least two Democrat Minnesota state officials and a campaign advisor to Tim Walz, Amanda Kohler, have been identified as admins and dispatchers in the now leaked Signal chat or Signal group chat used to stalk and impede federal immigration. So what Cam Higbee was showing just a little while ago on Benny Johnson's show, a lot of these people work for Tim Walz, directly for Tim Walz, and work directly for his campaign. Nobody can tell us at this point that this isn't some coordinated effort at the DNC level, at the party level, because it's the talking points, it's the resources, it's the Signal chat, it's the money, it's the food, it's the water. He's even using National Guard to keep these people fed. More and more comes out, and that state is in complete disarray. And this is not a very big state. Imagine what is going on in California, in Washington, in Baltimore. You pick your Democrat city. Imagine what is going on there. It's really crazy. And so I'm going to kind of close on this one, and then I'm going to get to some of the chats. But there's an interview. I was listening to Paramount Tactical last night. He and Jay Witt were doing a show. It was a great show. And he mentioned a podcast he had done, Paramount Tactical had done, and it was with Case Hughes. And if you guys haven't seen it, please be sure to go and check that one out. It's on the Paramount Tactical website, or not website, YouTube channel. Very good interview. Very good interview. So they were talking about essentially how people's minds can be rewired. And it's kind of interesting that this is what has happened. I'm fascinated by the human mind's ability to be tweaked and messed with something as simple as an algorithm, and that all that repetition. And what he had brought up, let me show this one first. This was the post that Gary had made over at Paramount Tactical. He said, leftist ideology is a religion or cult whose followers are willing to risk anything and do anything to force it upon others. They are far more dedicated to their ideology than most Christians, which is why they are winning. And I thought that was a great way to put it. That this is, I've always often said that we're in this good versus evil world. I mean, I think everybody knows that, but I look at it as a Christian, I look at it from a good versus evil, and that everybody is going to have a God. Everybody's got some sort of a God. And when you don't have when you don't have God, the God, you will have a God, i.e. the government or your SJW, whatever flavor of social justice warrior you want to be. You'll find your little inroad to find something that you're going to put up on a pedestal. So I thought this was brilliant. But when he was talking to Case Hughes, he said, perception, context, and permission. And he was talking about how people perceive the world. And, the example, one of the examples he used was that there's a rifle sitting somewhere. And it's not okay for someone to pick up that rifle and do something bad to somebody else. However, if you changed the context is someone invades your home, then those sorts of things start to change. And your permission then changes based on the context of whatever that situation happened to be. So I hope I'm being clear on this one. Case Hughes did a far better job explaining it than I am. But we sit back, those of us that have at least at the bare bones level, some sort of a Christian, either a Christian or something Christian-like, Christ-like type view on the world. Fighting these people, fighting ICE in the street that's like your absolute last resort. But that's based on our context and how we see the world. The left is the opposite. They see that as the first way to go about to go about changing the world, which is through violence. And they also have a changing morality. We don't. Whether you're just a normal, average, every run of the day blue collar American, you understand the difference between good and bad. You know, there's gray areas when we come to things like ICE being inside of Minneapolis. But, the left, with moral relativism, that's not a thing. Moral relativism, it changes constantly. That's why the term their truth or my truth is so damaging. So the left changes morality due to their religion or in their religion based on media personalities, social media, personalities, emotions, changing political environments. There's no consistent good, bad, right, wrong. It's all changing based off the circumstance, or as he was explaining it, changing the context of whatever their worldview is. And that's a very dangerous way, but it also makes these people very, very malleable. The left is very, very malleable, and they approach politics as if it's a religion. Christians like myself, I speak out about it. I'm far more vocal than the average. Most Christians, they back away from it. They say, no, I'm not gonna push this on anybody else. I'm not gonna be vocal about it because I'll get in trouble. I might say something I'm not. We become so timid about talking politics, and as I've said before, since politics has become the culture, we actually have an obligation to. If we want to maintain our status as a Christian country, then we have to be involved in politics because politics will run us over. These people will run roughshod over us. I hope I made that clear. I hope that makes sense. You guys let me know down in the comments if that was reasonable. Okay, let's get to some comments here. Ben, hey, just dropped his. Hey, thanks for coming in, Ben. And thanks for the hookup, by the way. I appreciate it. Ben has got me in touch with some folks on the back end, some bigger channels. And, dude, I really appreciate it. Big time shout out to Ben. Great guy. He's making connections. Let's see. What kids learn between 7 and 12. There you go. Yuck 2.0 says, what kids learn between 7 and 12 transfers into adulthood. 100%. 100%. Charlie Kirk, this is another reason that Charlie Kirk was so effective, is that he was one of the most effective evangelists in the country, even though he was talking politics. He would talk politics and always bring it back to a Christian worldview and try to frame it as such. And that was bringing people, in a lot of instances, closer to God. Families need that, but a lot of families aren't. Kids get online, and having a role model or having a person, whether it's a role model or just a voice like Charlie Kirk's, it was so effective for getting people to explore, young people to explore faith, because that's what ultimately what changes this. It's what changes it's what stops the riots. It's what stops the talks of socialism and communism and anarchy. And, there was one, I don't think I've played it here. Let me see. Oh yeah, this is it. This shows you how devoid of God it is in Minneapolis. Check this out. This lady posted look there. Here, check it out.
Dendorf coming live at you from the Minnesota State Capitol. I am on the ground floor, and as I was leaving my committee meeting today here earlier, I noticed that there is a new display here at the state capitol, and it's for Governor Walz. It's right here on display. So let me see. I guess I can't flip my phone, but I'll see if I can show it to you. So this is what we have here, everyone. Let me read it to you. The Democratic Coalition of Satan Worshipers thanks Governor Tim Walz for not standing in the way of spreading Satanism in the state capitol building. Satan has a special place for you. That's right, everyone. So the Democratic Coalition of Satan Worshipers, they have given some sort of plaque here to Governor Tim Walz. So let me be the first, I guess, to congratulate Governor Tim Walz for this very special award that has come from the Satan worshipers here in the Minnesota State Capitol. Yes, everyone,
I'm sorry, I wouldn't want that curse on me. I don't know about you guys. I would not want that curse on me. And this gets into a kind of a philosophical debate when people talk about, freedom of religion and the separation of church and state, which, by the way, separation of church and state just came from one letter. That are they allowed? Should we be allowed to say, no, you cannot put that in our state capital? To which I believe, sure, you should be able to say no, because it's not stopping anybody from practicing their religion. We're talking about the outward focus of religion at the governmental level. We're not, sure, you should be able to say, no, we're not putting Satan worshiping idols in our state capital. Sorry, we're just not gonna do that. But it's not impacting their ability to practice their faith. That's a completely different story. But nonetheless, we give that ground. We constantly give up that ground. And people who purport to be Christians say, yeah, bring the Satan stuff on in. Come on, bring the Satan stuff on in. I think this was in Minneapolis also. No, this was in Washington. So I apologize. Whoa. My phone just started ringing. Apologies. Here we go. One more, and then I'll get to some more comments.
The SS Quick at a corner store just up the street. The stabbing happened at the SS Quick Stop grocery store. Pierce County deputies say the victim told officers that the suspect asked what religion he was, and when he said he was a Christian, the suspect reportedly stabbed him and his dog. Both were taken to hospitals in serious condition, and deputies say the dog went into emergency surgery.
So this is, when we say that Christianity is a persecuted religion, the left doesn't say that because we still claim to be a Christian country. But the fact is, churches are the soft target, one of the new soft targets here in America. Christians in general are. And in some ways, I don't want to say we bring it on ourselves, but we've softened our stance so much and we've taken this timid approach that I think that we've allowed some of it to happen. Hopefully that's not too strong a terminology, but too strong of a phrase. But let's see. Ben Hay. All right. Yeah, Jared, so much taxpayer money wasted and stolen. It should make you angry. Yeah, it does. It infuriates me. That's, the whole reason I got into making videos in the first place. And I started, I don't know, it was like 2 years ago. It was a little more than that. It was post-COVID, and the first major spending bill, I started reading it, and I made a video. And then I'd have these long stretches where I wasn't making videos. But it was the spending. It's the spending because I think about future generations. So yeah, I get absolutely furious when I see fraud, waste, and abuse. And I'm shocked to hear it because I've been following this stuff closely, reading spending bills and all this, and you see the fraud, waste, and abuse. But it's become so much worse. Doge was a valuable thing. If for no other reason, it opened up some of it. It opened up Pandora's box, and now more and more is coming out, and that only benefits us. Let's see. Did you already cover those liberal lunatic women doing videos encouraging women to divorce their husbands? What? No, I did not. Oh my gosh, we might have to live find that one. Kimberly, oh my goodness. Are you serious? Women telling husbands to divorce, women telling, let's see, okay, what was it you said? Cover those liberal lunatic women doing videos encouraging women to divorce their husbands. Women to divorce their husbands. Husbands, ICE. Let's see if we can find it. Let's see. It gets arrested by the police. No, ICE was waiting. That's not it. I'll have to find that one and play it. She filmed her middle break. Her spouse has been okay. Whoa. Okay, this might be the one right here. I memed therefore I am posted it, and let's see. They posted it January 18th. It looks like. Let's see what this is. I haven't listened to it. We're live listening, so if you got kids around, it could be language. You never know. Let's see. Is this the one?
Listen up. If you are a husband and you are digging your face in the sand with everything that is happening right now, your wife is going to end up divorcing you, especially if you have kids. If you are not doing anything to assure her, to protect her, to make her feel better about the situation that is happening in our country, she will leave you.
I don't know if that's the one, but I found, my goodness gracious. Hush up, lady. Come on. Hush up. Oh, there's a husband out there that's, lots of husbands out there that would roll their eyes if their wife came and said that to them. Okay, there's several. Yeah. Let's see. There you go. Kids in cages was an Obama policy. You're absolutely right. This is funny. Takeaway says, sounds like a Republican. Obama sounding like a Republican. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's funny. It was a different time back then. And somebody said it, I think it was Jennifer, who's is on here every now and then. She said that, missing the days. We talked about it yesterday, but for the new folks, we miss the days of Republicans and Democrats not being that far apart. And, you listen back to the Clintons, guys. Clinton sounded like a Republican. It's crazy. Let's see. Nobody wants to pay right-wingers to protest, so we have to work real jobs which interferes with that. Oh, it's so true. You have to ask yourselves, these are able-bodied people. What a sad life you've chosen if you've chosen to, protest for a living, not really building up your resume at that point. Let's see. Be careful, Audrey, when TDS reaches level 5 or beyond. This is Yuck talking. Talking to, we had a very, very far lefty person in here who looks like it anyway, named Audrey. It says, once TDS reaches level 5 or beyond, you'll experience physical pain. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Who is this? Andrew, J6, pardon my President Trump. Here's the point. He's standing trial. If that's true, I don't know if that's true or not. It could be more lefty nonsense, but if that's the case, then is the person standing trial? Yep. We don't run pre-crime here, right? The person was pardoned for the thing that they were in jail for. If they commit other crimes when they come out and then they go back to jail, that's on them, and it looks like justice is being served. It's this idea that, you let one of these people out, they got a speeding ticket. Okay. It's such a silly argument. It's saying they never should have let them out. By that logic, put us all in prison. Put everybody in prison. And that way you prevent any crime. Just keep everybody in jail. Or in a socialist country, right? Even then you don't stop all the crime. But live in a police state. Is that the point you're trying to make there, Audrey? That I think they're helping their cause. But I remember it was fine. Oh, and see, okay, look, I have to bring up the virtue signaling because this is the sort of thing that we get all the time. So this Audrey says, conservatives think they're helping their cause by pretending the murder was fine. They aren't. What murder are you talking about? The one where the guy approached ICE officers, assaulted ICE officers? Is that the unaliving that you're talking about, the deletion that you were talking about? In a tense situation? It just shows normal Republicans that there will, that there will never be a line crossed or an atrocity that goes too far. Nonsense. This is absolute nonsense. We talk about atrocities that go too far all the time. However, as we said yesterday, you don't have to put yourself in that situation. If this guy had come to this situation, to come to that altar or to that protest, and he was there with a sign and his firearm on his side, concealed with his concealed carry permit, all things were lockstep in order, then what's the likelihood of a violent altercation with ICE? Well, it's actually zero. There is no opportunity for an altercation. Instead, the guy went with a concealed weapon was interfering with ICE, was getting aggressive with ICE, was resisting arrest, was arrested, and whatever the circumstances that happened after that, that's what the investigation is going to tell us. But he put himself in the situation. It did not need to escalate to that point. And the blame is from the left. There is no circumstance where a protester, armed or unarmed, whether they've got, rocks, baseball bats, knives, guns, it doesn't matter. If there's defensive use by a police officer, people on the left, like this, 100% of the time say that it is the cop, criminally deleting an individual. Because I don't think I could say the M word on YouTube. Maybe I can. I don't know. I have to check the terms of service. So it's silly arguments, and it's arguments that I'm quite frankly, I'm a bit sick of. Let's see, Kimberly. Hey, Sumaz. I don't know how to pronounce that. From down under. Hello. Welcome back. I'm not on my usual live stream time tonight. That's part of my problem. I do it when I can. I had a long day today, so I had to start a little bit late. Okay, protesters for the right cause. How a protested class is now there you go. That great way to put that. Great way to put it. That protester for the right cause, right? The Democrat cause is a protected class of people. If you're a Democrat and you are, if you're a Democrat and you're protesting for a Democrat cause or in favor of Democrat politics, you're a protected class. You are safe. The Constitution, it can be as flexible as necessary. The laws can be as flexible as necessary to make sure that you do your job and you help out your party. That's so socialist too. All for the party. All for the people, all for the party. Such a great point. What's your guess on how hard DHS and Minnesota are going to get sued? That's a good question. I don't know. I'm almost certain there will be a lawsuit. We're such a litigious society. I can't imagine a world where there isn't one. Is there going to get sued? But I can't imagine a world where there isn't one. I really can't. Yep. Okay, guys, I think I've come to the end of the comments. I don't think I've missed anything. If we've got any left in here, let me double check one more time. And if you're new and you enjoy the content, very helpful. If you guys hit all the important buttons down below the video, that subscribe button, like button, and notification bell really helps us in the algorithm. I'm hoping to have another show tomorrow. We shall see, depending on my work schedule, but I'm still shooting for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Those are my almost guaranteed days. Monday is kind of up in the air. Monday and Tuesday are kind of up in the air. I have less control over my schedule on those days. Wife does not disagree about, and I disagree. Oh, this one. It's in the best interest of Walz. That's it. So this one, that's good. This is a good one. This was in response to Audrey, who we were, I guess you would say, chatting with before. But she said, this was what Audrey said, for those that are just coming on. Conservatives think they're helping get better. Trying a murder was fine. It shows normal Republicans, or an atrocity that there's never a line crossed or an atrocity that goes too far. And this was the response from Takeaway. Takeaway says an atrocity is allowing millions of illegals into the country and then losing them. Yes, and 300,000 children. Also an atrocity. That was a big effort, by the way, of Cash and Dan Bongino. The efforts they were putting into alleviating the child trafficking that's going on, finding some of these kids. It was in the tens of thousands that they were locating. They had broken up trafficking rings and all this. They were doing good work. But really all because the only reason is because it wasn't the Epstein list. Everybody was just still ticked off at him. It's like the only thing that they cared about. Let's see. At this point, I'm very comfortable saying there are no peaceful protesters out there now. Peaceful people don't mix with lawlessness. Yeah, it's a coup. At this point, I'm very comfortable saying that there are no peaceful protesters out there. Peaceful people don't mix with lawlessness. This is officially a coup. Well, it's certainly the fact they're having to protect the Whipple building, which is their federal building. That should tell us. I mean, there you go. Let's start calling it what it is, right? They used it on us forever. An insurrection. Let's just call it an insurrection. Call it what it is. There you go. They block off streets. The whole Chaz Chop thing. It's complete lawlessness. The Chaz Chop was the autonomous zone that they had in was it Portland or was it Seattle? I think it was in Seattle. They had Chaz and Chop. Let's see. Okay. All right. I think I've come to the end of the comments. Guys, Summers. Okay. I was mispronouncing your name. Summers. Got it. Okay. Guys, I appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Be checking in tomorrow, but definitely on Wednesday, we'll have another show. God bless you. Have a great night. Stay safe. Stay warm. And we'll see you in the next one.